We're at Star Wars!
We're at the movies to see Star Wars The Force Awakens. Now, this is going to be, once we see the movie, there'll be plenty of spoilers. If you don't want to see spoilers, you got to check out our previous review because we have already, in fact, seen it. We're doing this, for me, it's to see how does it stand up.
Have you seen this?
I have seen this.
You've seen this movie?
I've seen this movie, and I like it so much, I'm going to see it again. Because the first time, you're just like, it's like Avatar.
Yeah.
The first time I saw Avatar, I was like, oh my god. And then the second time I went, I was like, what the fuck? Why am I watching this again? So this is like to see how it stands up for me.
The test of time.
Yes. Now, Aaron has never seen a Star Wars.
Never.
Do you know anything about it?
I know very limited. You know what?
You know what the Millennium Falcon is, right?
I know of it.
Okay. All right.
I mean, to be honest with you, it was never something I was exposed to as a kid. None of my siblings had an interest in it. None of my friends.
What did you do as a kid?
Lived under a rock.
Like, cause for me, I spent my childhood watching Star Wars.
See,
3, 4, 5, and 6. I spent watching that, and then the new ones came out, and I spent my teen years watching those, combined with the other ones. I spent college. If I couldn't fall asleep in college, I'd put on A New Hope. And it was just soothing and relaxing and comforting. It's like a little blanket, a safety blanket, but it was my movie.
See, I was listening to CBC Radio 1, and they were talking to a number of people that were discussing how it was an experience, not even a movie. And I'm very actually excited. This is probably the #1 most excited film I've done a review for the simple fact that I'm going to be looking at this not for the story aspect or the experience aspect that everybody else who's going to watch this. I'm going to watch it in a unique way in the sense that I don't know anything about the story. I know, like Han Solo and Chewbacca and R2-D2.
You know the characters.
I know the characters only by, what do you want to call that, social media or popular knowledge, of them, but I don't know the stories. I don't know anything. I'm watching it for the enjoyment factor. I'm watching it as a standalone movie. Now, I understand you can't really. It's like jumping in and watching the 5th Harry Potter.
But I don't know. I think you should be able to watch the 5th Harry Potter and be able to figure things out.
To a point. But there's probably going to be backstories. There's definitely going to be backstories that I may not grasp or I may not understand, and I do intend on watching all the Star Wars movies now to get acquainted with the story, and maybe I'll appreciate the movie a little bit more. Maybe I'll be confused more, I don't know. But I think it's, from the CGI standpoint, the acting standpoint, everything, I'm very excited to see how I enjoy it.
One thing I'm interested to see is, we all know that Luke, Leia, and Han, and Chewbacca, and all the original characters are in the movie.
Yep.
And when they introduce you to the characters, for me, it's like, oh my god, there's fucking Han Solo again, and I get that hyped up. I'm interested to see how you react to that, because I feel like that was kind of, everyone's seen Star Wars, except for you. And when they show the characters for the first time, everyone's like, yeah, it's fucking Han Solo!
And see, for me, it's just gonna be like,
hey, there's that dude! And then you need to wait for the introduction.
Hey, that's Harrison Ford!
He's Han Solo, I know that.
But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting experience. I'm excited. I'm very excited. I think that the movie, from what I've heard, and I've only heard a little bit on CBC Radio 1 when they were doing that little discussion.
Sponsor!
They, yeah, really.
No, don't.
They talked about how they kept true to the story. They went kind of back to the grassroots, and they almost re-originated the original story in a way. So
I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's its own movie.
It is. It definitely is. But it stayed true to its roots, is what I'm told. But I don't know what those roots are. I'm looking at this completely independently. So I think it's going to be a good movie. Going in, I'm excited to see it. I think that it's going to be a typical action movie, sci-fi, your traditional expectations of what the movie's going to be. I think I'm going to be pleasantly surprised with how much I enjoy it, and probably enjoy it enough that I'm going to really want to see the other 6. That's my expectation. But
I mean, already since we saw it last, since our previous review, there's been like things that in like my mind I've been like nitpicky about.
Fair enough.
That like you don't notice right away, and it's not until you like get thinking you're like, huh, wait a minute. Now there's other things that I enjoy more, but Yeah, it is. It's 5:34.
Yep.
The movie starts at 7.
And there's like people filing in. Like I want to get out there.
There's
And I wanna,
4
like,
cars
line
in
up right
line, and there's some people already standing there. So
And
we're
there's people
gonna
off
get
to
our
the side.
first seats.
We are.
Front
We're gonna
seats.
get great seats, and so we can really enjoy this movie. And we're gonna be back in a couple hours to talk to you guys about how I view it. The first time seeing a Star Wars film. Wow, I can't even say
Hours
it
for
properly.
us, seconds for you guys.
That's
Don't worry.
pretty
We're
much
not gonna make you watch just the
like
car.
the blackness, and
The
you have to
car.
fast forward, and there's no fast forward function. You gotta watch it all.
YouTube's got a fast forward.
I know it does, but I mean, maybe if you disabled it, I don't fucking know. Anyways, we're gonna go.
Run. Get the speed
Okay,
now.
let's go!
The movie was over. Okay,
All
so
done. All done.
what did you think?
Spoiler alert.
Yes.
Right up front. Huge.
Han Solo dies. There you go. Everyone's been like,
I did find out that spoiler. That's the only one I found out.
you
And
knew about that?
I didn't know for sure because it was on Imgur, and I don't know if people, posted fake stuff and people posted legitimate. Apparently that was legitimate.
You fuckers ruined it for Aaron. I have to say, that part, my heart was still pounding, like pumping.
See, for me,
I
it was
knew it was
pretty,
coming.
It was pretty apparent
Yeah,
from the build-up,
yeah,
right? Like I did tell you, but Imgur definitely helped that, but you could see it. But I mean, you have to. I'm assuming again. Bear with me here because I'm a noob, and I'm sure there's lots of comments about how haven't I seen it. I'm assuming from the first movies, the first 6, that he's a pretty fucking major character. So
The part where they first find the Millennium Falcon, they're like, it's garbage, and then they're like, well, okay, well, we'll use the garbage because their ship gets blown up. Aaron is like, oh, is that like a major ship? And I'm like, yeah, it's the Millennium Falcon. And he's like, oh, is that Luke's ship?
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Is that Luke's ship? And I was like, just fucking watch the movie. God damn it.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
But they explained it.
They did. And I tried my best not to ask you too many questions.
Do you have any questions now that you would like asked, or answered, I guess? Would you like me to ask you any questions for this?
No, because I'm not going to be a good answerer. I don't know. I think I would almost need context on a lot of it.
Okay. Like,
In the sense that if I was to look at it as an independent film, Sir, are you okay? I really, really enjoyed the movie. I really enjoyed the movie. So much to the point that I definitely want to see the rest.
I'd watch that one again still. Maybe not in the theater.
But you'd watch it a third time.
Oh, I'd probably watch it again. Cheap night again.
Fair enough. So the replayability, I could definitely go see it again.
It's not as good the second
Excuse
time,
me.
obviously, but there are. I noticed more things in this. There was a lot of foreshadowing. When Ren is doing the little mind intrusion on Rey, he says that he sees what she dreams, and she dreams of a lake. And there's an island on the lake, and at the end of the movie, that is where they find Luke. Also,
I didn't make that connection. Thank you.
you were just about to go to the bathroom. There was her when she first touched the lightsaber, and she was just taking her first steps with the Force. It does the past with what happened to Luke.
Like her parents and...
Yeah, well, you don't see her parents still. You just see them fly away.
Yeah, but...
And that ship, I'm gonna say right now, looks an awful lot like the one Han and Chewie showed up in. I don't know for sure. I'll get back to that in a second. But the end of her vision, she came face to face with Kylo Ren in a snowy forest.
Yep.
And that was how also they tied that in. And I didn't catch that the first time. Probably because I was about 2 feet away looking straight up.
Yeah. And I mean, you're so... I can definitely vouch, because this is my first time seeing the movie, that there's a lot going on.
There is, but at the same time, there are maybe like 3 locations.
Yeah, there's the big, like,
There's
evil space headquarters.
Yeah, but I mean, like, for most parts, it's you don't really spend a whole lot of time at the rebel base. That doesn't, I wouldn't count that. And space, I mean, I'm not going to count that as location because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But there's Jakar, there's the foresty planet, which the name escapes me right now, and then there's the Star Killer base.
Yep.
And those are the three main locations where they spend most of their time, and I enjoy the fact that they spend a lot of their time in those locations, because I found when they did the prequels, they were like jumping around back and forth a lot, and it was almost too much.
Yep. I do like the stability. I don't understand the character interactions per se, like how she just like that knows droid.
I think that's probably a learned thing, because she
Maybe
is
because she's a scavenger.
Scrapper, scavenger, whatever.
But then, I mean, then he is a stormtrooper. Now, again, he hasn't had that same exposure.
Oh, definitely not.
Right? Because he was, as they explained, he was taken from birth. So
And he's brought up to solely fight and follow orders and
exactly
that fun stuff.
Now, it's interesting how out of everybody, he is the one stormtrooper that's just like, no.
They actually touch on that, and it's not so much that he's the only one, because they mention like previous. Has he had any other previous? I don't know what they'd call it.
Right, he was the first. This was his first offense.
Yeah, his first. And he was scheduled for like reprogramming or something, like conditioning, I think is what they use the word. So it's obviously obviously a thing that happens to some stormtroopers. It's weird because the previous movies, it's a clone army, and they make reference to that here again, but it's not clone armies here. They're stealing infants at birth, or not birth, but really close to it.
I'd say that the movie was very well done. The cinematography, the action sequences,
some very good shots I enjoyed.
Yes.
And the graphics didn't look like forced.
No, actually, it was
a good use of graphics.
And I mean, usually with 3D, I don't appreciate it in the sense that either they try too hard or maybe they don't do enough. This seemed to have a very nice balance in that. I think that, again, just talking about the filming
ball
itself.
Monsters.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, everything. Everything was very well done. The CGI was well done. It wasn't forced. It wasn't too much.
Who do you think is Ren's father or parents?
I don't know the story. Is it somebody? Do you think it's somebody that we know in this?
I do think it is someone we know in this, because when she runs off after Finn, because he's stormed off. This is at the little wood planet. They're at that little crappy bar with the worst cantina song ever. Han's left with the little lady with the tiny eyes and the big glasses, and she's asked Han, who's the girl, and then we cut away before we actually ever hear. So Han, I think, knows who she is, and
it's not his kid. It can't
his
be
heritage.
His kid.
It could be, because the lightsaber, it was Anakin's lightsaber before he turned to Darth Vader, and then Luke had it. And Luke is the son of Anakin, and then the same lightsaber was calling out to her.
I don't. Luke's kid?
She could be Luke's kid, or she could be Han and Leia's kid, and she was kind of like put on this planet to be like looked after by other people because they didn't want her to turn out I guess his name's Ben Solo.
But I don't think. I don't see that, because the way that they acted about Ren, or not about Ren, sorry, about, what was the bad guy's name?
Kylo, or Ben.
Ben. So, the way that I guess Ben and Ren, but the way that they talked about him and about how, they gave him to Luke and how they gave him up and how much she regretted it, there was no conversation, no...
About another kid. Yeah, there wasn't there, but... I don't know.
Possibly, but maybe it's Hans. I don't think it's Hans with another person.
I don't think it'd be Hans with another kid. But it is weird that the Luke's and Anakin's lightsaber is calling to her.
But and that's the thing is that I don't. I don't know the backstory well enough. I don't know the characters. Again, you're saying,
We're
you
like
know...
way out of focus.
Wow, we are. There we go.
Better.
You're talking about Anakin Skywalker, and them, again, their names I've heard, not the storyline I don't understand. But I really think I'm going to go watch the movies.
Did you have any things you didn't like about it?
On a filming standpoint or a storyline standpoint?
Just in general, was there anything you didn't like about it? How many Star Killer plants out of 10?
Plants or planets?
Planets. It's a plant too. Like it's a base. It's a plant. Not like a flower. A plant. Like a nuclear plant.
Sure.
Except,
I understand.
okay.
I understand.
Okay. How many of those would you give it out of 10?
Based on the cinematography, based on nothing really relating to the story except what was shown in this one, I'd have to give it a solid 8.
A solid 8. That's lower than what Curtis, Ian, and I gave it. But we're all huge Star Wars fans, and we were in that euphoria of... Yeah. And that's it. That's interesting, because that's like a Star Wars fan. We all gave it 9s. I think I was the lowest with like 9.5. And this time around, I'm probably only going to give it like a 7.2. For my second time around. There were some things that I didn't...
What didn't you like? Let's get...
Okay.
I've talked a lot. So
okay.
What didn't you like?
Number one, when they're stealing the TIE fighter in the scene, they have blast doors for the hangar bay. Hangar bay doors, that's like a thing. They could have easily shut the hangar bay doors, and that cuts off their escape. That cuts off the story, though. So they can't do that. And maybe because Finn did blow up the little command center, they couldn't close the blast doors. Number 2, things that I don't like about this movie was, it was very coincidental for timing-wise. It seemed like transportation in the galaxy was instantaneous, or they were, like, frickin' closer than, like... they were, like, around the block, because they fired... You weren't here, you were in the bathroom. They fired the major weapon from the Starkiller base, which I guess could move a little bit, but it's pointless whether it moves or not. You see Kylo Ren, he's in orbit from the Starkiller base. The next shot you see is they're back on the little foresty planet. The name, again, escapes me. Please comment, tell me what it is. And they're getting invaded by the First Order, and guess who shows up? Kylo Ren. How did he get there so quick? It doesn't make any sense. Even at light speed, things take time, and I think that was a thing that, like, the first movies did well, because you can travel the speed of light, but it still takes a long time to get places.
Yeah. I think that, there were definitely coincidences, I mean, in the sense that they just... Now, I guess they did mention it when Hans and Chewie showed up, and they just happened to find... the Millennium Falcon.
I'm not so much concerned about that, because I could, like...
But they did say shortly thereafter that they were tracking it. So, I mean, that... But there was a lot of circumstances that it was just like... Okay, you just shrug your shoulders and go along with it. But, sorry, continue. Things you didn't like.
It was just stuff that, like... You know, they have 15 minutes to destroy the base, and they can travel to the base in less than that time. Like, it doesn't make sense to me mathematically why it would do that. Other than that, really,
I want to know whatever happened to the head stormtrooper that they got. Like, they said they dumped her in a garbage chute, but like,
that was a reference to number 4. They jump in a
garbage chute.
Yeah.
Have
you even seen, like, the Star Wars Family Guys? Or the Robot Chicken?
Oh, no,
Star
not the
Wars.
Robot Chicken ones. The Star Wars ones, no, not really.
Wow, you've, like, gone out of your way to avoid this. I swear to God.
Circumstance, man.
Circumcision.
No.
No?
No. Yeah, I guess I would go see it again. It's, I don't know, it's different in the sense that it was action and a little bit of romance to kind of keep people interested. I could definitely tell, I mean, you get C-3PO, you get R2-D2, you get Hans, you get Leia, you get...
How did their introductions do it for you? Because you don't really...
I think the R2-D2 one was very cool. The C-3PO was neat.
Han Solo.
Han Solo, that was probably the best entrance of them all. Obviously Chewie was with him, and then Leia, you could tell when they were like big characters coming back. And even though I don't know
I think that's
the story,
what they tried to do, and they probably spent a lot of time trying to figure out ways to introduce
just
the
to be like a
characters.
dramatic entrance right there, and the audience is like, oh, yeah, because it's familiarity to them.
Nostalgia.
And I think that they did a great job, I'd have to say, of setting the tone with the new characters, getting in deep with them, but not too deep that there's no mystery. There's still a lot of mystery surrounding all three, like BB-8 and the other two, Ren and Stimpy.
Finn.
I don't know.
Finn and the other guy's name was Poe, I believe.
Yes, Poe. I think they did a really good job of setting that up. I think that
there was character building,
but not to the point where it's over diluted. That
No.
they continue to
There's definitely room for
continue
expansion.
to do it. Absolutely. All in all, it was a great movie. They set it up well. They delivered enough, I think, for the Star Wars fans to really be happy with. They delivered enough for somebody like me who's never seen the movie that I enjoyed it thoroughly and created the desire for me to go and want to watch the other movies, so maybe I can appreciate this one more.
What would you do if I told you in episode 4 and 6 there are planet-destroying plants, bases?
Planets?
No,
Plants.
just bases, and that they have to do the exact same thing.
I did hear, and the general story about destroying the Death Star, and they even made reference to that in this movie. Of course, there's going to be the repetition, but it's all about how you deliver that repetition, right? There's a lot of movies out there that are going to have a very similar and very same storyline and plot. The Fast series is the same thing, Oh, we're all together, and you got to go beat up some bad guy, and whether they do this or that, and cars are going to be involved. That's how they do it. It's all about the delivering of the story, and I think that you can. Obviously, if that's going to be the story every single time, that's going to be a problem, because it's going to become repetitious. But I think that if you deliver it right, that's good. And I also have to compliment the movie staff and the editors and the writers and everybody for actually killing Han Solo. Yeah, as much as a heartbreaking moment that probably is for a lot of people, I give them kudos for having the balls to. And
I said that in our reviews, that I'm glad, because a lot of places
they have a miraculous
pussy out, and he's not actually dead.
If I can make one more comment,
do you think he died like a lot of people are saying that he died like a kind of like a pussy? That the real Han Solo is way too clever and crafty to be taken out like a chump like that. No,
I think he died being a dad,
doing the right thing.
Being a father.
I think I agree with you for that.
Yeah, because it also identifies a line where we can all be, whatever we are in our jobs, and his job was a smuggler or a hero or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's all about family. And I think that's really going to hit home. Now, even if it's found that Ren is his daughter, or Ren is whoever, somehow related to this guy, there's going to be, or even related in some way to Han, there's going to be some major retribution there. And that could open up a very interesting door. Now, unfortunately for me, again, without knowing the backstory, and I don't know if this Ben character is necessarily new, I don't know, but he's a spoiled brat. To me, there was such a build-up about this character, and he makes such a dramatic entrance, and he's very similar to Darth Vader in that sense, but then he takes his mask off, and he's this age of you and I. He's a whiny kid, exactly, and he's all like, he's mopey, not mopey, but...
She's better in the Force than I am!
Yeah. And, it's like, no, he's not an evil guy.
I think they did a very good job of showing the conflict with him, and it was
Yes.
interesting because normally there's always the conflict, the characters are being twisted to the dark side. He was already twisted to the dark side, but he was talking about having trouble being twisted back. He could feel the temptation of the light. I really enjoyed that, and I don't know if you noticed, but
that was the Mask of Darth Vader.
when when him and Han Solo are on the bridge, and he's like having that come to Jesus moment, there's the light shining from the planet on him, and it's like he's in the light, and then the light vanishes and it goes completely dark.
And
there's I think they used a very good use of silence in this movie, as I pointed out.
Yes, you did. And that was actually very helpful, because I didn't even notice that there was a lack of music. But it built the tension, it built the drum.
You can hear the lightsabers and everything going at it.
Are they closing?
No, they're not closing.
Okay.
I hope not. Another thing I didn't like, before we go, this is the last thing, because we're pushing the time here. It's been 30 years, give or take, in the galaxy since the end of Return of the Jedi, number 6. And the X-Wings and the TIE Fighters have basically got a new coat of paint. And a lot of the other, like, I guess the Stormtroopers have been updated a little bit, but they pretty much just and as much as I love seeing the redesign of the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter, and I think they look amazing, I think that even, like, look how far cars have changed in 30 years. Yeah. So I think that there's probably...
The technology
it would probably change, and that was...
Maybe different weapons, because you also have to... They also probably wanted in this one to stay true to the...
There were different weapons in this one. Like, there was a flamethrower, which I don't think we see in the other ones, and there was that... For some reason, the clone trooper was carrying around like a lightsaber deflecting stun rod.
Yeah, that one was...
Which was weird, because there's only one Jedi left. Why are you carrying around this purely Jedi...
And then he gets killed like a pussy.
Shot in, like, when he's not paying attention.
Yeah,
That's
like,
the heat of the battle.
You.
That's the heat of the battle. You gotta be paying attention everywhere. Like Han Solo, you're just like, guy's dead, not even looking.
Yeah, like a boss.
Anyway, that about wraps it up.
Yep.
Tonight. There's a few other things we're gonna see in the future, but until then, thank you very much for watching.
Thank you very much, and go see it.
Definitely.
Love you, bye.